We are either the craziest bastards in the world that ever have lived to be buying Tesla stock as it's basically been a falling knife, or we're just the smartest bastards in the world seeing what everyone is overlooking. Well, what Elon just said, what Dell Technologies CEO just said. Remember Dell? They just went up like 30% on their earnings call because of their AI demand. Wow. I can't even believe what Elon and Dell's CEO just said about FSD. This is actually huge. Michael Dell, the chairman and CEO of Dell Technologies, made this X post. I always want to say Twitter post. X post. He says, super impressive. Tesla FSD V12.3 is like a human driver it is. With this Yoda meme here, it says, amazed I am. Elon Musk says V12.4 is another big jump in capabilities. Our constraint in training compute is much improved. Now, why is this so dang impressive? Well, let me break it down and put it into a little bit of context. Dell's CEO is, well, saying Tesla basically has an impressive product here, which I think that's impressive in and of itself. Typically, you don't see Fortune 500 companies or any company in general talking up a Tesla product. I mean, I can't recall the last time. Ford CEO says some generous things every now and again, but that's impressive to me. Elon saying the training compute is much improved. I think this is what we kind of all expected. As V12 launched just a couple of months ago, now you're up to V4, okay? Or, 12.4. You've seen a big jump in improvement in a very short amount of time. Think about it like this. The way that I think about FSD and training compute, and I think it's really the only way to think about it. If FSD truly is solvable, if we could have a robotaxi network that could drive like a human or better than a human, it's the training compute that is holding that up. Think about it like this. If you had enough training compute, if you had all of the training compute in the world to train your model, theoretically, you'd have FSD trained like that, right? It would be instantaneous. Now, that is if you can actually solve robotaxi in general. If you cannot solve robotaxi, it doesn't matter if you have all the training compute in the world, it will never get solved. I think we're past that point. I think we're to the point we can confidently say FSD it will evolve to be an even better driver than a human today. With that said, if it is solvable, then it truly is compute constrained. And now that that is improving, I think we're seeing that actually improving in the software itself, but that gets us much, much closer to actually developing the robotaxi network, which, as Tim Cook said, CEO of Apple, the whole reason they were trying to build an Apple car was for full self-driving technology and capability. Tim Cook said back in 2017, self-driving cars are the mother of all AI projects. One of the hardest things that you can set out to do, period, but has the largest potential reward associated with it. Apple was never in the business of selling cars, or they never wanted to be in that business. Apple wanted to be in the business of robotaxis, self-driving vehicles, and they found it was too hard. Well, apparently Tesla is doing it. This clip that I'm going to show you is about 2 minutes long. It comes to us from Chuck Cook on X. Thank you for posting this. Pretty dang impressive. And this is the V12.3 version of FSD, and it's much better in this specific scenario as it has been previously.
It's in the wrong turn lane to go straight. Let's see if it does it anyway. What's it going to do? Okay. Now, it honored the turn lane it was in. And now it's going to have to do a 3-point turn to get out of this. I don't think this is U-turn worthy. It's mapped a U-turn down here at an end of a street. So I'm proud that it didn't jump over. It could have, but it would have had to honor the traffic that had the right of way. Okay, I don't think the radius will work, but let's see. Oh my God. Oh my God. If it pulls this off, is it gonna, oh my, it was so close. It was so close. I'm just gonna sit here for a second. There's some dogs over here. Oh my gosh, look. I didn't touch anything. It was waiting for the dogs. Now look, I got another pedestrian who's gonna walk in front of me. It's honoring him. It is finding its way. Guys, I didn't touch the accelerator there. I actually thought it was stuck. I think it was waiting on the dogs. It did a U-turn all by... Guys, that is Robo-taxi re-navigation right there. It's not a Robo-taxi yet. I know that. But that function that it just did is what a Robo-taxi will have to do when it gets itself in a bind. And it will get itself in a bind. That's just the way it works. But that level of not giving up, now, I would say that it needs to add reverse, because reverse is just another tool you have to get yourself out of a bind. And the fact that we don't have a reverse three-point turn maneuver yet is probably something it needs to learn how to do. Maybe it needs a lot of training data, I don't know. The only other reason I say that is because an unsuccessful U-turn needs reverse as an emergency bailout option, unless you're willing to jump a curb or something like that. The car can't just stop in the middle of a road because it miscalculated the radius of turn.
So this really makes me think, with this rate of progress, we have to start thinking about or considering robo-taxis could be coming to larger population centers, more established population centers with more full self-driving drivers already in them. Think San Francisco, LA, Phoenix, or Miami, other areas like big cities coming in the not so distant future. The next year at this pace? How long is it really going to take with this kind of improvement? Dell's CEO is talking up FSD, saying it's driving like a human? We got to be close, especially if we're getting more training compute. And again, think back to what I said. If FSD is solvable to drive like a human, a robotaxi, then it must be training compute. Because if you had all the training compute in the world, you would instantly have a perfectly driving vehicle. It's not, time dependent like a human brain is, where you have to take time to learn this information. We can't just soak up, a year's worth of information in 10 seconds, right? But a computer doesn't work like that. Software doesn't work like that. It's all dependent on the data and how fast you can feed it. If Tesla's feeding the data faster to FSD to train it, then the improvement could be radical, as Elon has said before. And I think you're starting to get that radical improvement, judging off of where Tesla stock is today. And what we're seeing on the ground, we could be the craziest, smartest bastards that ever lived in the markets. I mean, you have to be pretty crazy to be buying a stock down 35% year to date. That's common logic. My logic is I like to buy when people are fearful. I like to sell when people are greedy and overly optimistic. So right now with Tesla stock fits my exact investment plans. A lot of people also forget that you make the money when you buy a stock. I know this is confusing to some people, but you make money when you buy a stock. Because what happens when a stock goes higher, it pulls forward a lot of future demand, a lot of future revenue. Think about Cisco. Cisco is a stock that everyone will reference during the dot-com bubble because this stock was a must-own stock. Literally, you had to own this stock. It's kind of like Nvidia today. If you did not own this stock back during the dot-com bubble, you were losing clients. Like, people laughed at you. You just had to own the stock, okay? And you're still not back to your all-time highs because you pulled forward so much demand for Cisco at the time. But what happened? Cisco was actually growing revenue by 20% like every single year since then. EPS was 50 cents back in 2000. This year, it's expected to be over $3 per share. The company has done very well, but the stock pulled forward 25 years of demand in this rally, and you did not make money if you bought in this rally for a long time. And if you bought at the peak, you still haven't even broke even. Whereas I see that happening with other stocks right now as well. Nvidia has definitely pulled forward a couple years of demand. Tesla stock, where it is today, is discounting demand. It's saying demand's not going to be that great. Things are going wrong in the business. I don't agree with that at all. You make money when you buy a stock. If you bought Tesla stock at $410 or so, the previous all-time high, you still have not made money on that. Now, will you eventually make money on that? Likely, yes. Just how long does it take to get there? I think not likely. I think you will make money. I want to correct that. I think Tesla stock is going much, much higher, but it's all about the time, right? Could it take another year, 2 years to get to all-time highs? Of course it could. If the economy goes into a recession, things go terrible, of course. If you bought Tesla stock at $100 per share, you're still up, right? So it's all about when you buy a stock, not necessarily when you sell a stock. If you buy a stock at a great price, undervalued price, when everyone is negative and there's really discounted demand, discounted earnings, and discounted revenue there, thus usually the stock is in a low place. If that's happening, like right now with Tesla, you'll make money in due time, sometimes faster than others. But if you bought GameStop at $350 per share at the peak, you're never going to make money on that. It's all about when you buy a stock. Also, what's important when you buy a stock is your return potential. The lower the stock, the higher your return potential is relative to market cap and all of these other things. So specific for Tesla, if you're buying Tesla at $160 per share, to get a 10x, which is seen as a home run, 10x, a 5x is really, really good, but a 10x is like a home run, life-changing amount of money for a lot of people. Tesla stock only has to go to $1,600 per share. Tesla stock only needs to go to like a $3.5 trillion market cap. Roughly $3.5–4 trillion market cap to get up to $1,600 to give you a 10x on the shares that you are buying today. If Tesla falls lower to $100, then it only needs to get to $1,000 to give you 1,000% return. Whereas if Tesla stock was $300 per share, it needs to go to $3,000 per share. That's a big difference in market cap and probabilities, right? So the probability that you make an exponential amount of money is higher today buying Tesla stock at lower prices, or at least your percentage return can be exponentially larger the lower you're buying the stock. And really the way that I look at it, specifically with FSD, not even to mention the other parts of Tesla's business, when Tesla gets this right, not if, but when Tesla gets this right, maybe it's a year, maybe it's 2 years, maybe it's 3 years. Be generous. Give it 3 years to actually start to see some robo taxis get rolled out onto your city streets. Then any shares you're buying at these prices are going to make a ton of money. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a financial planner. Asteroids could be hurtling towards Giga Texas and Shanghai as we speak. Tesla could have the worst luck in the world. Anything's possible. I'm not a financial advisor. I make YouTube videos because I love doing it, and I love financial markets. Fell in love with financial markets, fell in love with making YouTube videos, and well, Tesla happens to be the company with the greatest potential with the least risk, right? You're not going to lose all your money in Tesla. Tesla, unless an asteroid hits their two big factories, then Tesla's going to be just fine. Okay, so it's a safer investment that could 10, 20, 30x. I don't think you can find that anywhere else. You can't find that in an Apple, in a Google, in a Microsoft, in even Nvidia. You're not going to get that. Nvidia to 10x is highly unlikely. Highly, highly, highly unlikely. Nvidia would have to be literally everywhere and in everything to be a $20 trillion company, a $24 trillion company, or whatever it would be at if it 10x from here. It's just not going to happen. That's why I like Tesla. That's why I think right now I'm looking to buy as many shares as possible. If Tesla does inevitably fall back to the 150 or lower level, that's really a sweet spot for Tesla. Because again, if you make money on the buy, it's going to be really hard to lose money if you're buying Tesla stock under 150. Now that could actually happen in this upcoming week. We'll talk about that in the next video. And I just want to briefly say, if there's anything you take away from this video for your investment lifetime, just remember, you make money when you buy a stock, not when you sell it. That really put it into perspective for me when I first heard it. I don't know who said it first, or I don't know where I heard it from. This was many years ago. But it really makes you look into fundamentals more, really think about where a company's going, because even if the company's hitting new all-time highs and you're buying it, you have to have a baseline assumption about the company that you're buying it at a good price. What does Warren Buffett say? He would rather buy a great company at a fair price than a fair company at a great price. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into all of your other Tesla stock news today. Here is an ad that Tesla is running on YouTube that is really headlined, "Drive the #1 most American-made car." Now, I find it crazy. If you ask people, maybe not in like California or Texas, I guess, but other areas of the US, I live in Michigan, and I'll ask people like, where's Tesla from? Like, is it an American company or is it like a European company? And most of the time people say, I don't know, but it's not American, which just shows you how much these advertisements could be a good thing for Tesla. Ashok Alaswamy responded to this clip that Chuck Cook posted on X that I just shared for you here in this video. He says, "Reverse is coming soon when the Actually Smart Summon and the FSD models merge together over the next few releases." So the reverse functionality will be coming. Rivian files a trademark for R1X, suggesting new flagship performance model is on the horizon. Ashok Alaswamy also said about 8 hours ago on X, he says, "Motivating to see the overwhelmingly positive responses for our latest FSD V12 release. Kudos to the incredible team at Tesla. It's an honor to work with them every day." He says this is the first version of FSD that uses neural networks end to end, going from raw camera videos and vehicle cinematics and producing control actions to drive the vehicle. Efforts over the past several months went into making this new approach beat the previous V11 stack developed over many years. We believe V12 has net surpassed it now, and hence the next set of V12, 12X releases should bring unprecedented progress. Come on, baby. If there was ever a time to be bullish on Robo Taxi network, the possibility of that, fully autonomous vehicles, it's clearly with V12, the neural net network, the end-to-end network, and the training compute that is, well, not as constrained anymore. Again, I always revert back to this. If indeed Robo Taxis are possible, then it truly must be a compute problem. If you had all of the compute in the world, you would have cars that would instantly be able to drive themselves. Cars are not like humans. Software is not like humans. They can develop at very fast rates under the right circumstances. And again, if you're someone that is looking for a 10x, 20, 30x, well, the way Tesla's going to do that is FSD and the Robo Taxi network. And really my expectation around that is I thought initially that we might see kind of a broad-based rollout of the Robo Taxi network, but let's be honest, it might be a slower rollout than that. Tesla's likely to target larger cities, San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, so on and so forth. And when I just looked at the amount of taxis that are in New York, it's like 50,000. It's a huge number. If Tesla could even roll out to New York, that could be a substantial business for Tesla, let alone all of the other cities out there. Okay, so I was a little wrong on that figure that I just said. New York City has about 13,000 medallion taxi cabs, but there's 143,674 taxis and for hire vehicles in New York City. This would be like Ubers. It says almost 39,000 black cars, 22,000 livery cars, 288 commuter vans, and 2,200 paratransit vehicles. And this was back in 2015. So I'm sure the numbers are way higher than that right now. And let's be honest, you probably need more taxis in a city like New York as well. New York averages about one cab for every 630 people. Just a small town in Bethel, Alaska is home to the most taxis per capita in the United States, per capita. And it's about one cab for every 91 people. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, you could probably see the taxi market double in New York without being overly saturated. Which, if FSD can come in there with a Robo taxi network and start doing that job, fill that void, just in that city alone, it could be huge. Over on StockTwit, sentiment is neutral today at 51. Yesterday it was at 61, which was bullish. Message volume today is 37. Yesterday it was 47. And participation ratio is the same as yesterday, still at 55. These numbers tend to be lower over the weekend, and today is St. Paddy's Day, so happy St. Paddy's Day. Drive safe out there if you guys are, drinking and driving, all that. Designated driver. Call yourself an Uber, maybe one day a Robo taxi. That's always a great idea. But it's actually pretty encouraging to see these numbers, considering it's a weekend and it's St. Paddy's Day. Tesla did raise prices on the Model Y, or will be raising prices on the Model Y, coming on April 1st by $1,000 in the US for all trims. They're also going to be raising prices roughly on a similar scale in Europe, I believe on March 22nd. So we do know some price increases are coming, and that could get people excited for Tesla stock coming in the early parts of this upcoming week, but we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next video. Option activity in Tesla stock over the past week was kind of neutral, but slightly on the bullish side from hedge funds and institutions. You had 5,264 orders totaling $12.31 billion with a positive order value of 57%. So you're higher than 50, you're not quite neutral, you are slightly bullish. Short interest percentage of free flow at 3.46% with $15.56 billion currently in short positions. You do have cost to borrow fees about 10%. So it looks like on Friday there was a lot of demand to short Tesla stock, and who knows what's going to happen in the markets, but considering the news we got in after hours on Friday with Tesla raising prices by $1,000, that's probably a really bad time to have taken on a short position. Tesla is currently running 3,000 ads via Google, and Google Trends data, well, is back to showing us something, okay? Recently, Google Trends data went straight to zero, and Google was having a little bit of issues on their part. You are seeing a ramp up in demand for everything. Besides the Model X usually stays pretty low in between like 8 to 12. So 12 is high, like 8 is pretty low. Model X search trend activity went from 10 to 9. The Cybertruck went from 30 to still at 30. So that's pretty stable there, which is actually impressive because the Cybertruck recently went from 18. Now it's at 30. That's likely a lot of organic search trend activity. I think if you're looking for a halo effect to actually happen due to the Cybertruck, you want to watch to see where this trend activity in Google Trends searches goes from here. You do see a spike in Model Y from 32 to 35 and a spike in Model 3 from 35 to 36. So it looks really good right now. Demand should be actually picking up based on this Google Trends data. Global inventory numbers for Tesla's Model Y have recently shot up, falling a little bit today down to about 7,800. Model 3, Model S, and Model X inventories are at very low levels. Considering Tesla just raised prices on the Model Y, maybe they're just producing more. And that's why you have higher inventory numbers. That would make sense. Typically, higher inventories would suggest maybe lower demand, but Tesla raising prices suggests there's likely good demand. So if there's good demand for the Model Y and these other three models have very low inventory, then you're probably just seeing good demand or better than expected demand across the board for Tesla right now. That is going to do it for this video. That is all of your major news that you need to know for Tesla. Now, in the next video, we're going to be going over my expectations for this upcoming week, what I think is going to happen with Tesla stock, taking a look at the technicals. Where could Tesla stock go next? We're going to talk about the Fed meeting coming on this upcoming Wednesday, as well as the NVIDIA GTC conference on Monday, which will be tomorrow, and what kind of effect that could also have on NVIDIA and the broader market. So another jam-packed video coming out at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. Trust me, you do not want to miss it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think about this information down below in the comment section. If you guys want to come trade with us live in real time, check out that link down below in the description of this video. If there was a week to be a part of that community, it is likely this week. Gonna be a lot of volatility, a lot of potential to hedge portfolios potentially, and, well, hopefully make a lot of money. If you guys also want to go follow the X account, check that link out down below in the description of this video. In the meantime, I live at home with my mama, cause I ain't got no place to go. No, I'm seriously at my mom's doing some real estate stuff here. Hopefully you guys don't mind the change of scenery. I actually try to get my mom to move in with me, but she apparently doesn't want to. Who knows why that is? Probably you guys can understand. But nonetheless, you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.